Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. I want to introduce you to a really fascinating lady tonight. Scarlett Deva is her name. That's Diva with an E, not an I. Antelosi. Is that correct? Antelosi?
Perfect. You've said it perfect, Brian.
Scarlett Deva Antelosi. She is a composer, a singer, a pianist, a performer, a producer, and an author. And she's going to launch 5 new songs in June, each a jewel from her piece Escape, with its cool, unrelenting piano and driving rhythms to the atmospheric Tripto and Pent-Up and others. Scarlett's haunting voice adds another layer to these tracks, such as on her singles I Am My God, Doing the Thing, and Staying Too Long. Known for her crossover musical style that captures jazz, funk, world, opera, and classical, Scarlett has charted her own unique path in music and is an artist to check out. So we're going to check her out. Scarlett, how are you?
I'm very well, Brian, and thank you for having me.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, and also I want to thank Danielle Iverson, my PR or my publicist, for getting me on your show. I've listened to it many times, and you've been to some of the same places I've been: Boston, LA, UK, but I have not been in politics.
No, that's a shame.
No, music and medicine.
I understand that you've been performing and singing original music since you were a kid.
Yeah. When I was growing up, it was Mozart, Bach, Beethoven, and you had to play that. And I was a rebellious kid, and I always just wanted to sit down at the piano and just play. And when I teach, I do the same thing. I have people, even when I teach acupuncture, as long as it's the low back and you're not going to insert a needle into an organ, vein, or artery, I have people just feel the energy. And also, I just love that feeling of that flow when you're not in your left brain, but you're just in another world, and things come out. And this instrumental EP, that's how it evolved. It was just me sitting down. It wasn't a therapy piece of music where I'm, you took my money and then you called me honey. It wasn't, no lyrics, and just things that you sit down, and it's just been wonderful. And I've always had that as a child, and that's a really magical. Those are magical moments to have, whether one's a writer or whether one does anything. Those moments when you're not in the box.
You, I understand, started composing and performing solo with bands and ensembles and concert halls, theaters, and clubs again as a teenager or as a very young adult. Is that correct?
Yeah, in high school and in university, I had bands, different bands, jazz. I was in the big band and the orchestra, studio orchestra. But how I developed into a one-woman show was because the bass player got sick, or the drummer couldn't make it. So I thought, you know what, I just have to go on by myself, and it evolved from there, my one-woman show.
And you had a voiceover opportunity with The Simpsons? The Simpsons?
Yeah, I was living in Los Angeles at the time, and it was my very first voiceover audition. And Bonnie Piatella, she's the casting director there, and there were a lot of people that flew in from New York and all over, and I aced it, and I got that gig. Unfortunately, I got headhunted to move to the UK and to produce commercials and everything, so I wasn't in LA long enough to see what could have developed out of that.
And now you're doing a one-woman review, is that correct?
Yeah, I'm doing a one-woman show. Yeah, so I've been doing that for years, but I'm reframing it and writing new dialogue and inserting new songs. And I always insert, some of my originals with some covers. And people really like to hear, even when I was performing in Glastonbury at the Glastonbury Festival in the UK. When I did just a short excerpt of famous women singers like Callas and Janis Joplin and Piaf, people like that. I mean, I'm playing my stuff and it's great, but when you don't hear it every day, it's a different thing. I'm not the Beatles, right?
So you've really performed around the world.
Yes, I have. Yes.
And you're in Hamilton now. Are you born and raised in Hamilton?
Yeah, well, I wasn't born here. I was born in Europe. and then Toronto, and then Hamilton. Yeah.
How is it cracking the entertainment business from Canada? Is it a challenge?
Well, just starting it just going back into it now, and with Danielle. So just starting it again. I'm getting a lot of material that hasn't been released yet. I'm remixing it. So we'll see what happens.
And I understand you host a weekly radio show as well in Toronto.
I do, and I'd like to have you on it.
I'd love to. And it's called Music and Medicine.
Yeah, it's an hourly weekly show, and I talk about, and I interview doctors or therapists, and also have someone who talks about their beefs. So and it's jazz, indie music that you don't hear on, let's say, other stations, and I love doing it because I can play. I don't really have. I'm not bound by a playlist, so it's a very diverse and inclusive playlist.
So why the combination of music and medicine? I understand that you have a wellness medical clinic, the OHMM Center, that you've been running for 20 years, and you've recently started the International Medical Arts Institute for healthcare professionals. Why the connection between medicine and music?
Well, even as a child, I always wanted to help people. And I was reading the tarot cards and working on anatomy, physiology. I always wanted to work and help other people, and so it was kind of a natural progression. I also started out as a sound therapist, so work in the UK, and then I realized that I didn't have enough. I needed to know more, and so I delved into Chinese and natural medicine, which gave me, herbs, pharmaceuticals, more knowledge about conditions and what people go through. Yeah.
So you said you were a sound therapist?
Yes.
What is a sound therapist?
Well, working with sound, I specialized in working with people's voices. We go to the chiropractor, we go to the osteopath, we go, get our nails done, pedicures, manis, all of this, but we don't do very much for this little, and that little 1-inch vocal cord lets us cry, scream, talk. It expresses all of our emotions, and so part of that is releasing, and working with primal therapy, as you know.
I thought primal therapy is about screaming. That sounds like it's going to aggravate that vocal cord, no?
Well, no. I was going to let out everything. Yeah, and you're right. So we're not looking for a nice sound, but definitely we would start with emotional vomit. You don't want to keep things inside. We have, that 80% of most health challenges are stress related, right?
Right.
So primal therapy and just letting out one's feelings, some with an awe. Just really great, and then having acupuncture after that, it's just you're floating, so you don't need the ayahuasca.
Fantastic. Are you going to play some music for
Sure.
us? Some of your music?
Yeah, so this piece is, I'll just start in the middle of it. It's called Escape, Menekülés in Hungarian, and it's a piano piece. I've been playing it for years in my shows, but just finished recording it, so here you go. I'll play it now.
We're going to take a break for some messages and be back in just 2 minutes with Dr. Scarlett Deva Antelosi. Stay with us, everybody. Welcome back, everyone, to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. My guest tonight is Dr. Scarlett Deva Antelosi. She is a musician. She's a natural medical practitioner. She's got really an interesting background. And we're going to play a little bit of her music. Our last attempt didn't work out that well, so we're going to try to play it a little bit better. Maybe, Scarlett, you can introduce us and tell us what we're going to listen to, this instrumental.
So I'm just working on an instrumental EP, and I'm not going to have any words on it, and it's piano music, and it's just some background oohs and ahs in a kind of a indie classical jazz style. So I think the first one is called Escape.
Let's listen.
Thank you for playing that.
That was great. Thank you so much. Now, tell me, are you playing all those instruments or just playing the piano?
Well, no, I've composed the track. I'm playing all the instruments except for bass, and I've got a wonderful Toronto bass player, Carson Freeman, playing bass on that track. So yeah, he really killed it.
I've heard Carson Freeman with some other artists. I can't remember.
Yeah. Yeah, he plays with Rob Tardik, and on one of my other pieces, Rob is playing guitar. So yes, got some really cool Toronto musicians playing on the tracks, but most of it I've orchestrated and playing it on my own.
So you're primarily the pianist, is that correct?
Pianist and arranger, and yeah.
Excellent. Now tell me a little bit about your medical stuff, because that sounds so interesting. And you're primarily what, Chinese medical, your acupuncture and
Chinese and natural medicine. The School International Medical Arts Institute.com is for healthcare professionals, so chiropractor, physiotherapist, RMT, massage therapist, nurse, doctor, and that's medical acupuncture. So that's a shorter course with people that have a medical background, so they can do MSK, musculoskeletal health challenges and conditions.
So I understand that your knowledge of acupuncture, herbal remedies, nutrition, biofeedback, and mindfulness practices has made you a sought-after expert in natural health, sound, and holistic healing. What is mindfulness practices?
Well, mindfulness practices, I used to run a weekly meditation, sound meditation, where I would play my electric horn, and we would all gather on a Zoom call, and we would practice mindfulness. So we would chant on a tone and loosen up this little 1-inch vocal cord that we all have and that we sort of neglect, but we have to have it there, in times of need and 24/7. So yeah, it's mindfulness is just paying attention to what's going on, as the Buddhists say, being in the moment.
Right. And how did you get into all this medical stuff? You said that you got into it right away when you were doing the music as a teenager and a young adult?
Yes, I was interested in helping people, and I had people around me that had health challenges, and I was always interested on how to help them. And obviously, because I was a musician, there were programs and courses, and I navigated to meditation, to massage, to sound healing courses, and that it just developed, and then I made it my own.
Fantastic. Really quite interesting. And, it's interesting. I had a child psychologist once who told me that music can be one of the best therapies for any kind of mental health issue. And he said that when your voice fails you, music can speak for you.
Yes, I agree. The other thing is, it's not the therapist's music, it's the person that's going through the challenge. It's their music. So I had someone who was from Saudi. And of course, the clinic has New Age music. What do you call New Age music played backwards? New Age music, right? And he absolutely didn't like it. It triggered him. He wanted to hear Mozart. And so I changed, at the time CD and played, some Mozart. But it is very well researched that people do actually heal better when the music that surrounds them is what they like, what they vibrate to.
Right.
So just because I may like a certain kind of music, that doesn't mean that the person next to me is going to like that music.
I understand you've had previous releases of A Scarlet Woman, A Scarlet Christmas, and Unde Couch.
Oh, in the couch. In the couch. Not in the cooch, in the
In the couch. In
Brian,
that couch. Oh,
Brian.
in that couch.
In the couch. I was hired by a BC company to help patients with medical marijuana. And so I didn't know very much about it. And I learned so much about the pills and the tinctures and things like that. So it was a wonderful time for me to learn that. And I thought, wow, well, I might as well write a song called In the Couch. And actually it made the world charts. So yeah, very thrilled about it, but it is laid back.
It's laid back.
It's a laid back song. Yeah, you're not going to get up and dance to it like the first one.
And the Christmas was what?
Well, that was inspired. My brother said, "Why don't you write a Christmas show?" And I did that. And there's about 5 new Christmas songs on it. A wonderful new song called Hallelujah, which I'd love to have a choir sing. And there's a few covers on it.
I'm going to do another song that you've done previously, just for a second here, that I found on YouTube. Stay with us, everyone. Where is it you're performing?
I think that's in Hamilton Place.
Sorry, in where?
I think that's in Hamilton Place.
Excellent. That's
Yeah.
quite the anthology. And I understand you've been an MC at a big music festival in the UK, the Glastonbury Music Festival?
Yeah, I was an MC there for a couple of years. There was several MCs there. And I remember, very big. I think it's one of the largest festivals. And I couldn't understand why David Bowie brought in his own sound system. We were wondering, well, Glastonbury has a fabulous sound system. Why is he flying in and bringing in all this stuff? And now I know why. I know now why.
Why?
Well, you need, for that sound, for your sound, you have to have the people that know what you do. You can't just have people do your sound. It has to be people who know it, and you need practice, right?
Well, I love your sound. Tell me where I can see you perform. Are you have you got any gigs coming up?
Well, I'm doing some. I've been doing some. I just did 2 on the weekend. We're going to set it up on the website. You'll see something in the next couple of weeks where I'm going to be in the end of summer and September.
Well, make sure you let me know because I want to come. And if people want to check you out, what's the best place? Your website or Spotify or what?
Yeah, www.Scarlett Deva. That's Scarlett with 2 T's and Diva with an E. ScarlettDeva.com. Diva, D-E-V-A, is a nature fairy, right? And in Indian, it's kind of a goddess, right? Also, I am on Spotify. Inda Couch is on it, Inda Couch. And my Scarlet Christmas is on there, and also my Scarlet Woman CD, which I wrote and produced in the UK. And also my Instagram is Scarlett_Deva, D-E-V-A again.
I think we're going to go out, listen to a little bit more of your music. Tell us, if you could, when I start playing this, what this instrumental is.
Okay. I don't hear anything. There's no sound.
So you weren't hearing that for a while?
Yeah, I wasn't hearing that, but actually, I am singing the melody, ba ba da ba ba, but also I'm blowing into this device to make that kind of a synthesizer sound. So it was quite fun to do it. So I was playing on my left hand and holding this kind of a straw, but a big straw, and blowing while I'm playing with my left hand the synthesizer. So it was quite a feat. I don't know if I'll do that live.
It sounds like quite a feat. So Scarlett Deva, you can get, as she mentioned, on her website, scarlettdeva.com, on Spotify, and hopefully we're going to be able to see her live this summer or in the fall. What a wonderful opportunity to meet you and to share some of your music. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, Brian. I wish you all the best.
We're going to take a break and come back with another interviewee in just 2 minutes. Stay with us, everybody.